Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today's video is part of the January Core Collections video hop that my buddy Lynn with LV Handcrafted is putting together. What we're doing this month, what we're doing for this hop is pulling together some of the new core collections that are coming out from Spellbinders and sharing with you guys some inspiration. Now, I've been having a bunch of fun with both the wax seals and with the Better Press, so I think I'm going to try doing a combination on my card today. I'm going to start off with playing with some of the wax seal bead mixes, and they've just come out with some mixes of some of the popular colors that work great together. So I'm going to make some wax seals with that. Now, the way I like to make wax seals, first off, I've got a wax seal warmer over here. This is something I picked up off of Amazon. It has a spoon, it has a little pot, and yeah, I'm going to actually use it with 2 spoons. But one thing you want to do is you want to use a little bit of aluminum foil over the heating element. This is not necessary, but it does make it so cleanup is a bit easier and you don't get any of the wax on your actual burner. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going ahead and letting it sit to the side to heat up for a bit. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and open up my mixes here. I've got 2 mixes. This one is looking to see the name, or if it has a name. Doesn't look like there's a name listed on these, but that's okay. We do have the numbers up here. So WS115 has got gold and silver and white and black all together. And then WS118 has got blues and teals and greens and golds. This one I think is going to be my favorite. Anyway, I've got those 2 mixes. I'm going to open those up and go ahead and start melting a couple of wax beads. One other thing that I like to do is, when I'm making my wax seals, I like turning them into stickers so that I can use them later. Like this one. This is one of my Merry Christmas ones that I have from last month, and I've got a sticker on the back so that I can apply it to a card. I can apply it to an envelope, whatever I want to after the fact, and not have to do it actually onto the paper. In case I kind of mess up, I don't really want to have paper mixed in with the wax, because even if you mess up, you can always remelt them, right? So these guys are ready to go. Let's go ahead and pour this one that we swirled around. That looks pretty cool. I am kind of leaving the silvery part in the center because that part is going to be able to be seen. And let's go ahead and do the handmade. Okay, now I'm going to do the other one. I have not swirled it yet, but like I was saying before, we can just wipe off that little excess bit of wax that was on the tip of my little silicone stirrer here. And we're going to stir it a little bit. Not too much, because I do kind of want that swirl. And we'll do this other one that is the envelope with the flowers. Okay, this should be about ready. Let's take a look. And that is lovely. You can't really see the stamping in there that well, but there is a solution for that. There are markers and things that you can use for this. And I saw something else from Simon Hurley recently where he mentioned using some of his lunar paste. So I've got some of Simon Hurley's Gold Rush here, and I'm going to add some more because I thought I was recording and apparently I wasn't. Some more of the Gold Rush to this wax seal. I decided that the other one just turned out so pretty, and you can really see the little envelope on there, so it doesn't really need a lot of extra. This one just had so much going on in the background, and I realized there were some areas that I didn't really get. It has had time to dry a little bit, so I'm going to try putting a little bit more on and see what effect that one has. So being very gentle to try to just hit those raised edges, and it does look like it is starting to pull out some of that gold, showing it a little bit more over the top so you can see the letters better. And it's still a little busy in the background, but I think it is still pretty. Now that I've got a couple of wax seals done, I'll go ahead and start working with my better press to make some cards. But one thing I did want to show you guys, because this is something that I never really thought of until recently. We've always got excess, some left over. You can definitely just pour it out so that you can use it again, but why not use it to make your own little embellishments? So I've kind of heated this up a little bit to make it a little bit hotter so that they're easier to pour, and I'm just using some of the excess to drop some little drops down. So now I've got little wax embellishments, if you will, similar to enamel dots. And you can make them any size that you want. You can make them basically any color that you want, just by pouring out some of your excess, and it's going to match perfectly your wax seals that you just used on your card. And then when you're ready to clean it, when you're all done, you'll want to clean out your spoon, unless you want to save it and have it mixed in with other colors later. You can absolutely do that. And because it's hot wax, it just basically just wipes right out. Cleanup is super, super easy with this. So I'm taking out the A Friend Like You bouquet and kind of just figuring out how I wanted to have it lay out on my card. I am going to use one of the wax seals, so I'm using the wax seal right over the bow and kind of laying it out to see what I think. It is going to be reversed, so that means that this is actually going to be on that side, and that is totally fine. But this gives me an idea of how I want it to look. I do kind of like that angle, and using it part of the card, I probably can cut this a little bit narrower, and that I think is going to be fine. Now I'm going to take this piece, and I'm going to adhere down with some tape over the top my card panel. There we go. So that should hold it in place so that everything's going to be fine. Next, I'm going to take some ink and ink up my stamp. I've got one of the Better Press inks, and that would go good with this black and gold and silver, but I want to use something different for the others. So I do have some blue. I do have some green. These are regular archival inks. I'm thinking that the green may go well, but I've also got some other inks that, although they're not archival, they should still work very well. I use these different inks all the time. And this one is a floral. So I'm going to go with it. I think I'm going to just use the Simon Hurley Remember Me. I really like that color. Let's see how it looks with this. Maybe a little bit dark, but I think that's still going to look good together. So I'm going to just use some of that. And we're just going to tap and twist to get it on all of those raised edges on our design. One of the things I love about these plates is the amount of detail that go into the plates themselves. I also want to make sure I get enough of the ink down. So I've noticed on Simon, sometimes you do have to rub it a little bit more to get it to come out of that felt, which is totally fine. And you'll notice that my thanks sentiment has moved. That is totally fine. I can move it myself too. One of the cool things also is that this is magnetic. Okay, I want this to be right about there, and it has grid lines so we know exactly where we're putting everything. Let's get some more ink down on the thanks. Okay, I think that's gonna work. That'll be fine. I'll just put this over the top, and we're gonna run it through my die cutting machine. And I think that is lovely. I do think it got a little bit close, and that was because when I rearranged it, it was a little bit over, but I think that's still going to look good, especially since I'm going to be trimming off the edge. Let's go ahead and do another one with the other press, basically using the same technique. That looks gorgeous. You'll notice how much darker this one is. This was actually done with the Better Press Black. And love, love, love the texture. Awesome. So now we can start assembling a couple of cards. Do want to make note here, though. I have an extra shim in my Better Press to get, so I can get a little bit of that texture because I'm using regular cardstock. If you use the Better Press cardstock, it's going to give you a better impression, and you're gonna be able to feel it a lot more. Let's just put it that way. I've got a limited amount of that, so I'm using regular cardstock for this too, and it works fine. Okay, so I've trimmed down both of those, and let's audition. I think that's going to look super pretty. Okay, let me grab a couple of card pieces and our backgrounds. So I have got a bunch of paper, pattern paper in my stash that I never use. So I am going to do my best to start using those this year. So I pulled out some that I think will match either card. I'm kind of leaning towards this one with the stripes. That is so pretty. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the one with the stripes. There's another one with stripes, though, which is a teal. I like the blue on blue. So I'm going to go with this combination for this card. And then for the black, I've got several, again, of those. So I've got basic black, which would, of course, look very nice and classic. Got this one that has been in my stash for quite a while. That is an embossed... It's a pretty embossed texture. And I could go with it if I also pair it with some black. So that's an idea. I could also go this way with the black. Not sold on that one yet. Got some black polka dots. That is super cute. Got this one that's got more white in it. Not sold on it. Nope, I'm going to go with the dots. Sometimes you just have to experiment a little bit to see what you're going to like the most. Got a couple of card pieces here, and now I'm just going to, let's see, do I want to go full front on this, or do I need to do a little bit of a, I think that is going to work. I do need to trim a little bit more off of the side though, because I kind of want it to go all the way up to the edge, but I want more of that black to show. So I'll do that one in just a sec, now that I know what I want to do. So we've got this one that is in all the blues. Could go full front on that one. And I think that one's about the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering all of the stuff down. I'm going to use a dot runner, which is another thing I don't use a whole lot. I used to use them all the time. I'm going to just line it up all the way to the edge. And since it's on the edge, on the fold and on the other edge, I can trim off the excess because this was actually a little bit bigger than my card base. That looks pretty good. So I mentioned that I like using dots. I've got these that I got off of Amazon. Spellbinders has some as well. One thing I don't like about these is that they are really hard to remove. I have to use a craft knife to do that because they don't have any kind of a tab to pull them off with. The ones from Spellbinders do. For this one, since I'm using the ones that I just made, I'm going to go ahead and add it with glue. These are not ones, I did not do these stickers on a bunch of wax seals, so because I do tend to make extras. So let's go ahead and add some glue down right over that bow. There we go. I'm going to stick this down. I'm going to let that dry for a minute. And I do have it kind of at an angle just because I like that look. So I'm going to let it dry and then I'll pop it up, pop the whole panel up on some foam to go on there. So we're going to do the same kind of thing on this one. But remember, I said I wanted to trim it down a little bit. And we're going to have a little bit of white showing on the edges there, and that is totally fine. But I'm also kind of liking going all the way to the edge there. I'm going to trim it a little bit more first. So this panel is 3.5 by 5. That's going to give us some extra space on the white. I do want it to come up all the way to the edge, so that's going to look great too. And for this one, I'm going to leave it flat. So let's go ahead and just adhere everything down onto the card base, and then we can add our wax seal. This panel is slightly, ever so slightly smaller than my card base. So I'm going to let just a little sliver of white show on both sides. And then the bottom, I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay, and then I'm going to use my tape runner again for this panel. There we go. And then I can add some glue on here. Let's see exactly where I want to do that. I think I want it up higher. So we're going to put it right up here over the stems. And place that down and let it have a chance to dry. So this one feels like it's pretty much good. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of foam on there. This is going to make it a little bit thicker, and when you're using wax seals, you may have to add additional postage just because you don't really want it to go through the machines and break the seals. Another option, of course, is to hand deliver these. There you go. And also I do have some additional dots. Remember those little dots that we made? They're still on the silicone, so I can use those to decorate my cards a little bit too. So I'm going to grab a couple of each of those and adhere those down onto my cards. There we go, and then we can do the one for the black and white card. And that's going to finish these up. I think that these two thank you cards turned out so nice. And this time of the year is when I'm usually thinking about saying thank you to so many folks for all that they did for me in 2023, now that we are into 2024. And so I'll be sending these out to a couple of buddies before too long. You guys have a great day. Be sure to check out the rest of the hop. There's going to be lots more inspiration for you guys to see. And come back soon. I do have some more videos coming up using some more fun Spellbinders products. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.